Welcome to Eerie Shadows, the chilling haven where nightmares become reality. Step into the realm where darkness prevails and terror lurks at every corner. Brace yourself for a bone-chilling journey through the realms of the unknown as we unearth spine-tingling tales and chilling tapes that will send shivers down your spine. But before we delve into this terrifying realm, make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any single bone-chilling episode of horror, suspense, and the unknown. But remember, once you enter the world of Eerie Shadows, there's no coming back. So, let's get started. A few years ago, there was an entity, a shadow person, haunting my girlfriend's apartment, her mom's apartment, and a friend's place across the parking lot. It would manifest in all three locations, tormenting us at night. We would gaze across the parking lot and witness a shadow figure standing in the window. When we called our neighbor to check, she found nothing, yet we still saw it lurking there. Whenever it haunted Jenny's apartment, my ex-girlfriend, it appeared as a fleeting flash of black, darting from room to room. During this time, I was deeply involved in meditation and attempting to have an out-of-body experience. Little did I know that my pursuits would lead to a chilling encounter. Eventually, my wish was granted, but with terrifying consequences. Twice, I came face to face with a demon, but that tale is for another time. At that point, I lived 6 miles away from Jenny's apartment, and our relationship had become tumultuous, with frequent arguments. It seemed that our conflicts were feeding the strength of the creature haunting us. One night, Jenny and I were in bed with her toy poodle, Fancy, when something inexplicable happened. I suddenly woke up to an intense stiffness and vibration at the back of my head and neck. My head lifted uncontrollably, and Jenny, terrified, held me close, assuring me that everything would be all right. I pretended to be fine, but deep down, I knew something was terribly wrong. A few nights later, I was at my house talking to Jenny on the phone when another argument erupted out of nowhere. It seemed as if the entity was purposely instigating our fights. After hanging up, things took a turn for the worse. The stiffness and vibration returned to the back of my head and neck, rendering me unable to control my own body. Suddenly, my vision blurred, as if I were zooming out into a deep tunnel. A black mist approached, entering my body, and I could feel the presence of the creature all around me. The most horrifying part was the loss of control over my own body. I stormed out of my house, panic consuming me, as the creature forced me to walk towards Jenny's apartment in the pitch-black night. With each step, the entity's influence grew stronger, and my actions became increasingly animalistic. I was trapped within my own body, terrorized by the creature that intended to harm Jenny. As we walked along the country road, I could feel its thoughts and emotions, intensifying my fear. Every passing car reacted with shock and accelerated away, likely due to the sight of my blackened eyes and rabid demeanor. The closer we got to her apartment, the more I pleaded for someone to help me. I passed by a cowboy church, hoping the pastor named Zach might save me, but the church was empty. Another church appeared ahead, with people inside worshiping Jesus Christ. I knew miracles were possible, and as I approached the parking lot, the entity was forcefully expelled from my body. The sensation stole the air from my lungs, and I collapsed, gasping for breath and vomiting in the aftermath. After gathering myself, I looked around and realized I had been mere yards away from Jenny's apartment. Overwhelmed with emotion, I began to cry uncontrollably, barely holding back the urge to vomit again. The realization of what had almost transpired, that I had been possessed, shook me to the core. I turned and sprinted the entire 6-mile distance back to my house, tears streaming down my face, haunted by the experience. To this day, this true story remains with me, a haunting memory I have never shared with Jenny, and perhaps never will. Emily was an ordinary girl living in a small town with her loving family. She was known for her kind heart and gentle nature, but little did she know that her life was about to take a dark and horrifying turn. It all began innocently enough. Emily started experiencing strange occurrences in her home, objects moving on their own, whispers in the dead of night, and an unexplainable feeling of being watched. At first, she dismissed them as mere coincidences or figments of her imagination. However, as the days passed, the paranormal manifestations intensified. One evening, Emily awoke to find herself paralyzed in her bed, unable to move or speak. A chilling presence enveloped her room, and a demonic voice echoed through her mind, taunting and threatening her. Terrified and helpless, she could only pray for release from this malevolent force. As the nights wore on, Emily's physical and mental health deteriorated rapidly. She became plagued by relentless nightmares, each more horrifying than the last. Dark figures haunted her dreams, whispering malevolent secrets and urging her to succumb to their power. Emily's family grew increasingly concerned as they witnessed her transformation. They sought the help of a renowned paranormal investigator who delved into the history of their home. To their horror, they discovered that the house had once been a site of occult practices and dark rituals. Desperate to save Emily's soul, her family enlisted the aid of a seasoned exorcist. Father Thomas, a man of unwavering faith and deep knowledge in battling demonic entities, arrived at their doorstep, ready to confront the evil that had taken hold of their beloved daughter. The exorcism was a grueling ordeal, lasting for hours. Emily's body contorted and convulsed, her voice distorted as guttural growls emanated from her throat. Father Thomas fought tirelessly against the demonic force, reciting ancient prayers and wielding sacred objects to drive the darkness away. Finally, after a fierce struggle, the malevolent entity was expelled from Emily's body. She lay motionless, utterly drained, but her family rejoiced in the return of their daughter's soul. The nightmare was over, or so they thought. Months passed, and Emily appeared to have made a full recovery. However, she couldn't shake off the feeling that something still lingered, watching her from the shadows. Strange occurrences continued, albeit on a milder scale. Emily wondered if the demonic presence had truly been banished or if it had merely retreated, biding its time. Haunted by the memories of her possession, Emily vowed to never let her guard down. She embarked on a journey of self-discovery, delving into the realm of the supernatural and learning to protect herself from malevolent forces. With newfound knowledge and a steely resolve, she dedicated her life to helping others plagued by the darkness that once consumed her. The haunting of Emily's soul serves as a chilling reminder that even in the face of unspeakable horror, the strength of the human spirit can prevail. In the wake of my girlfriend's tragic suicide in April of last year, my life took a haunting turn. She had battled a personality disorder, and her suicide had blindsided everyone, including her doctors. 1 week after her reluctant release from the hospital following a severe psychotic episode, she passed away at her own place. Since that fateful day, strange occurrences began to unfold in my own home. Most of them were peculiar but benign. However, there was one night in March, just a month before my girlfriend's untimely demise, when I returned home late, utterly exhausted and burdened by the weight of her confinement in the mental institution. With every light in the house blazing, I collapsed onto my bed, my mind consumed by worry for her well-being. As I lay there, grappling with the unfamiliarity of mental illness, I suddenly felt compelled to roll onto my right side. And in that moment, I found myself face to face with a grotesque figure, an abomination that bore the most abhorrent countenance I had ever encountered. Its eyes burned red, devoid of any discernible pupils. It materialized just a few feet away from me, at a level, with a malevolence that no Hollywood makeup artist could ever replicate. Unlike a hazy apparition or a trick of the mind, I saw it with the same clarity as this computer screen before me. There were no distortions, no sense of being detached from reality. I had arrived home moments ago, my eyes wide open and all the lights still ablaze. The sinister entity appeared for a fleeting second before vanishing, akin to switching on a light in a darkened room and then instantly extinguishing it. My reaction mirrored that of the police officer in the movie Jaws when he glimpses the shark while tossing fish into the water. I didn't utter the famous line, "We're gonna need a bigger boat," but rather, I swiftly sat up on my bed, shaking my head in disbelief. Fear didn't consume me at that moment. I was simply stunned. Despite attempting to dismiss it, deep down, I knew it was undeniably real, not a figment of my imagination. Typically, I would have turned on the TV to lull myself to sleep, but on that particular night, I resignedly slipped into my pajamas, turned off the lights, and climbed into bed. The sensation that washed over me was that of a fait accompli, a sense that something was there with me, and there was nothing I could do about it. Was this entity connected to my girlfriend? Was it a harbinger of impending doom? Curiously, I couldn't ascertain its precise tie to my girlfriend, even though it had appeared in the same week she had attempted suicide in the hospital, an incident that had gone unnoticed by the medical staff. Another profound emotion I experienced was humility. I recall watching the movie The Rite when it was released, and it failed to evoke any fear within me. However, around November of that year, I decided to revisit the film. Completely forgotten to me was the scene with the mule and the haunting red eyes. But when I witnessed the scene again, it struck me deeply because those eyes were an exact match for what I had encountered. If you wish to verify my claim, you can find the scene on YouTube. I remain uncertain about the nature of what appeared before me that night. More importantly, I am still in the dark as to why it made its presence known. It wasn't a hallucination. I have never dabbled in black magic nor worshipped anything sinister. In fact, I don't even associate with anyone who does. While I believe in God, I don't adhere to any particular religious doctrine. In my quest for understanding, I reached out to a Catholic priest, as they tend to be more receptive to such matters. Sadly, their counsel did little to assuage my troubled soul. The priest offered kind words, assuring me that I wasn't losing my mind and that he had heard even more chilling tales in his line of work, a feeble attempt to provide solace, perhaps. But I could sense his discomfort, his unease with the topic. Since the passing of my girlfriend, I have never again encountered that eerie apparition. Yet, through this unsettling experience, I have come to realize one fundamental truth: if evil exists, then so does God. It is this realization that has left me humbled, drawing me closer to the divine presence in my life.